All right, let's start with the head. Drop the shoulders and let's take a circle of the head. If you know you're a little bit creaky in the neck, lift your shoulders, give them a little bit of support. Take your time. And then we'll take those circles the other way. Now, when we move, sometimes, particularly when we're warming up, we're trying to isolate one particular part of the body, but the body is designed to support all the limbs. So if you think like a dancer, how a dancer would move, the whole body will support this circular movement. So the shoulders might sway, you may even sway the weight between the feet. So nothing aggressive about it, just think about the whole body, but the focus is on the neck. And the same will happen now when we go to the shoulders. We'll take the shoulders forwards, up, back, and down. Think about the shoulder blades. They're parting here, they're lifting to support the movement in the arms, and then the shoulder blades are melting back and down. So nice, smooth movement. So I'm even lifting the elbows just to feel a little bit more movement, but I'm concentrating on the shoulder joint. Doesn't mean to say the rest of the body can't participate. So I have this theory that that's why dancers, even when they're in their 80s, 90s, still move so beautifully, because their brains are tuned in to the whole body contributing to a particular movement. So let's just be a little bit freer. Yes, warming up the shoulders and maybe getting a little bit bigger with those circles, but being a little bit more free with it to move, sway, so there's nothing forced or overly focused on the shoulders. All right, shrug out the shoulders with a bend in the knees. Let's come down to the hips, feet wide apart. We'll take a hula hoop action. And again, right away, you can see your upper body wants to support this by going in the opposite direction. Or maybe it doesn't. But just the idea of, moving a little bit more naturally rather than solid or fixed, rigid movement. Try to make this a little bit more fluid. The shoulders can be soft, the arms can dangle. But obviously the focus is on warming up all the muscles of the hips. Let's take those circles in the other direction. Even fold, a little bit of a back bend, chest opening here. And then let's move on to the knees. Feet right under the hips, hold the knees. We'll take both knees to the right, forward, left, and back. But supporting them, so we're holding the kneecaps, so we can support all of those stabilizers in the knees and reduce a bit of clicking, a little bit more comfort for the knees. And let's take those circles in the other direction. Brilliant. Onto the ankles, weighted to the left foot, let's circle the right ankle. See if you can go to a range of movement where the circle is smooth. If we kind of rewind and go find a smooth movement, from there you can start to push your flexibility. But let's go for a nice gentle movement and the other way. Shake out the hip, knee, ankle, toes over the side. Let's circle the ankle. A little bit of clicking is fairly normal, but don't force that circle. And then take it the other way. Shake out. And let's take a side stretch. Feet still under the hips. Let's extend the right arm up, left fingers down. Soften the knees, so a little bit of a bend in the knees. And then keep stretching up and down until there's no further movement. It will take a while, because there's a lot of soft tissues, a lot of joints we're working across. So reaching down to the floor, reaching up to the ceiling. I've tucked my bottom under, so I've softened the knees so there's no sticking the bottom out. The spine is long, but now we'll probably start to drop the head to one side to facilitate more of a stretch overhead. So getting deep into the side of the body, but right from the top right middle finger down to the left middle finger. Feeling that stretch, a little bit of extra give, stretch, stretch. And then slowly come center over to the other side. Right fingers to the floor, left, up and overhead. Knees are soft, so we can tuck the bottom, keep as much of a neutral spine as we can. Let the head down wherever it wants to. Emphasis on finding the maximum distance between one middle finger and the other. Take a stretch, just keep feeling that movement in the shoulder blade. One's down, one's shifting up to help the arms stretch apart. Amazing. Let's go on to the extended side angle to keep working on the sides of the body. Legs out nice and wide, turn the left toes to the left, and let's swoop that right arm up and open. Change feet, left forward, right turn down, and scoop, stretch, and open. Let's have a few of these, go at your pace. You can maybe pause and stretch a little bit further, taking your time, but always we keep changing the angle of the feet so the knees are bending over the toes. Let's have one more on each side, and then we'll add on a bit more of a twist. We're already getting a little bit of a closed open twist with the action of the arm, but this time let's take a stretch right across this opposite hand over the knee and reaching, maybe you reach towards the floor and look over your shoulder. And then we'll take that to the other side. So it starts as if we're taking an extended side angle. We'll reach and maybe we tap to the floor and look over the shoulder for a deeper twist. Let's take that once more each side. Nice big stretch, maybe the arms open wide. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's for another day. Wonderful. Let's heel the feet in, shake out the legs. All right, pelvic floor. Let's think about balance and pelvic floor. Let's take a breath in, stretch overhead, clamp the hands together and come to prayer, pressing the hands together. Connect with your pelvic floor, so as if you're drawing your sit bones together. The pubic bone at the front, back, pulling in towards the coccyx, so that diamond shrinks. Now lift all the internal organs up and tuck them behind your ribs. Now press. Keep that engagement and let's point to the right toes. We're going to take a bend into the knee. Keep connecting with your pelvic floor. Squeeze in and up. Tone the arms like pressing the hands together. Squeeze, lift the pelvic floor, lift the knee, and then slowly lower the knee. Do the same with the other leg. Feel that transference of weight, still some pulling in the core. Now pelvic floor. Shoulders are back and down. Your pelvic floor is lifting, engaging. Hands are pressing. The knees being pulled up. Squeeze and lower. Now as if we're taking a tree, back to the right leg. Open at the hip. Press the hands and slowly lift the knee in that hip opening position. Hard to connect with your pelvic floor, just concentrate and press and lower down. Change to the other leg. Hip opening, maybe the toe stays on the floor for today. Concentrate on the pelvic floor. Now, if I was standing against a wall, back of the head, back of the pelvis, in that same vertical line. Press, connect, squeeze is the intention which will get you stronger. Now, take a bend, we're back into the other leg, take a turn out, and now the leg is going behind you with a turn out. So working the outer hip, your balance, your arms, your whole body, squeeze and lift, and then over to the other side. So opening the hip, find that pelvic floor engagement, shoulders down, and take the leg behind you. Wonderful. Squeeze, where's the pelvic floor, and lower. Once more each side, you can shake out. Let's go on. Knee up, squeeze and lift, tap down. Other leg, squeeze, pressing the hands together, lift and lower. Think about tree, trikonasana, knee out wide, but then we're lifting the knee in that externally rotated position for the hip. And lower, close the hip, other side, open and lift, long spine, press into the floor. Same setup, but we take the leg out behind you, so gliding, leading with the outside of the knee towards the back wall. Squeeze at the pelvic floor, core strong, close other side, hip opens, lead with the back of the knee, outside of the knee, and lift. Amazing. Shake out the hands, shake out the legs. Getting up and down from the floor, something that we resist doing over time, but let's work on it. Let's think about, first of all, coming into a chair, arms overhead, weight into the heels, and sit down. like in a regular chair. Except now, let's think about a high dog. If I keep going down, almost as if I'm going to do a forward roll, let the hands find the floor. So I'm kind of in a high dog. Now lower the knees to the floor and come to a kneeling position. To come back up and reverse that movement, it's easier if you keep your hands quite close to your knees. So place the hands in front of your knees, press back, feel the pads of the feet reconnecting with the floor, and find your way up. So take your time, don't worry if you're not at the same pace as me. Let's come into a chair. We just at least find part of the movement, and we may need to help ourselves down. But we come a little bit lower, like we're sitting in a low chair. You can tip forwards then onto the hands because we're not so vulnerable, we're already close to the floor. Lower the knees and lift the arms. Let's just have one more without any bells on extra movements. Hands close to the knees, feet find the floor, and rise on up. We're going to add on a little bit of a camel backstroke here. So arms overhead, weight into the heels. Let's zip up. Now let's find that pelvic floor engagement. Coming all the way down, the lower we can get in the hips, the easier it is for the hands to find the floor. Let's let the knees find the floor, lift the arms. Now lean in with your right arm. Take a nice little backstroke, a lazy one, no over. Arching the back, just find where's a comfortable backstroke and then lift the arm, take it to the other side. Stretching back, open across the chest and returning. We're coming up to standing, hands to the floor, tuck the toes, send the weight back into the heels and rise on up. Are we doing all right? Let's keep going. Come down to the floor, hands find the floor, rise up and backstroke, chest opening. Arms meet overhead, other side. Hands meet. If you want to challenge yourself, put your hands further away from your knees. Then we have to use more core strength to come back up. Keep going. Chair, reaching for the floor, knees down, stretch and backstroke. Here, nice gentle movement, no forcing a half camel. Unless you feel ready for it. Taking that gentle back bend, more thinking about a chest opening to each side. And then by now you know roughly how far you want to place the hands. Maybe a little bit further, maybe we keep them close to the knees. Let's aim for 2 more, you're doing well. Into a chair, don't worry if you're at a different pace. I'd rather you went really slowly, find your rhythm. And a gliding, so it's a continuous movement. I like to think of it more of a mindful, kind of yogic type of burpee, getting down to the floor and getting up again. But we could pause at any stage. There's no momentum, no jerking. We're keeping the ankles in line with the knees, the hips. We have a beautiful Pilates alignment, strength of yogic poses, and the fluidity of a dance. Nice open chest. And again, I'm not over forcing, pushing my flexibility here. I'm going within a nice range where it feels fluid. Let's last time come on up. We'll make the next our last, and then you'll be staying on the floor. Let's take a stretch overhead. Come into your chair, everything zipped up. Your pelvic floor is engaged, sitting down low, finding the floor, onto the knees. Take a backstroke with one arm, and then the other arm lowering the camera. We're sitting down. Brilliant. All right. So back to classic Pilates now. Let's take the seated saw. So legs out wide. We're going to add on my usual kind of reset, but that like in between, which is rolling the shoulders back and down, legs wide, and then opposite hand down the outside of the leg, and we fold. As we come up, we take this reset. Now, if you're arching the spine here, I really encourage you to elevate the hips and sit on a cushion or a yoga block. But if you can, just with this intentional reset, sitting up tall in between each saw, then stick with this. Take it side to side. So obviously we're working the flexibility of stretch of the backs of the legs, but adding this forward fold and twist. Let's breathe in here, breathe out into the twist. Maybe we're taking a little bit deep by looking over the shoulder. Keep going. Really tall, reset, and then feel both shoulders swiveling round so that we avoid rounding of the back, collapsing in the shoulder. We use the back of the hand on the outer seam of the leg just to give us a little bit more leverage to twist. For the last set, let's really look right into the corner of the eyes. Big breath in here, the breath out, eyeballs all the way around, stretching a little bit lower. Staying in the same leg position, let's stir the pot, interlace the fingers, stirring and feeling like you've got a big barrel that we're finding our way around. Again, as we did at the beginning, letting the head be involved, let the shoulders be involved. Feel the shoulder blades. I always want to remind you that the shoulder blades are connected to the back ribs, but they have this ability to slide and glide the arrangement of the soft tissue between the shoulder blades and the back ribs, enable more movement. So think about a nice gliding movement to the shoulder blades, supporting the upper back the whole way around. Let's take those circles in the other direction with the other thumb on top. Try to keep the breathing nice and steady. Amazing. Last three in this direction. Last one. And then we'll draw the legs together. Have a little shake. Rock one bottom cheek to the other. And we're taking it in a mermaid setup. So let's all have feet over to your right. If this is too much here, stack the back knee on top of the shin. Otherwise, let's find this position. We're going to go for a reach. We're going to take, which hand? Right hand all the way up to the ceiling. So I'm pressing down into the floor. Same as we did at the beginning, thinking about pausing to get the fullest stretch right into the fingertips. But this time, while we're plugging the corresponding right sit bone into the floor. Get that stretch, allow the head to dip to one side, kind of wakening up all the joints. Think about all that webbing of fascia in all of the joints that just stays in that crumpled up, forgotten position. We're regaining space. Think about spongy muscles and the gaps that you get in sponges to absorb oxygen and hydration flowing through the body. So we're just pausing again. Now taking the arm up and over the body. You might place your left hand a little bit further away. Again, taking the same stretch with the right sit bone into the floor. Again, the head might dip. Breathing some space into all of the joints, length along the spine, nice gentle movement for the head if it feels a little bit stuck. One more breath to reach a little bit further. And then we're reaching forwards. So we can use the left hand just to stabilize us. You bow the head and reaching all the way forwards. Breathing deeply. Clamping the sit bones as far into the floor as you can. Just feel the different position of the stretch. One more breath in this position, and then we'll take an opening clam, kind of a half cactus. So the same arm we've been using. Using my left hand to give me a bit of leverage, and we're opening the chest. So swiveling around, shoulders down. Use your core to help keep you upright, and have an emphasis on the thumb reaching behind you. If you lead with the elbow, we've collapsed in the shoulder. So elbow towards me, thumb to the back wall, and swivel. So see if you can think about the whole spine and a little bit of a twist in every single one of those building blocks up the spine. One more breath, and then release. All right, let's rest the arms and come onto the hips. You may need to lean over to the left to take the weight out of this right leg that we're going to work. We're going to squeeze the glutes, tuck the bottom under, and we're lifting. The whole shin lifts. We lift the knee right down to the ankle for 10, 9, 8, long spine, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more with this leg. It's swiveling like it's on a, what's those lazy tables called? Anyway, hinging, swiveling round. So the whole from the knee to the ankle, staying the same distance from the floor. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hip reward. Let's place the foot on the outside of that left knee and give it a hug. So chest and thigh come together, sit bone into the floor, and let's give it this hip we've been working a nice stretch. Hugging as tightly in as you need to get the nice level of stretch without forcing anything. And then we're also the mermaid on the other side. Wonderful. You ready? Let's place the feet in a comfortable position where we can feel upright. We're first of all stretching up to the ceiling. All right, are we ready? So we press down into the floor. Let's try and get the left sit bone close to the floor, if not on the floor, and stretch. We're pausing here. Now, if we just take a lazy side-to-side stretch, you'll notice we're not using as many muscles as we are here. You might start to get a little bit desperate. Make sure you're still breathing. So reaching into that middle finger up to the ceiling, feel the shoulder blade lifting to support that movement, stretch up to the ceiling. The head, wherever it feels comfortable. You know, if we were just isolating the shoulder girdle here, and we have the head upright, we're then introducing stress into the neck. Let the head be wherever it wants to be. One more breath in this stretch. And then we're taking the hand up and overhead. So more of a lateral stretch. Maybe it moves a little bit down the waist. Again, dropping the head or pressing the hand into the floor. It helps me keep that left sit bone towards the floor, if not on the floor. Breathing deeply. Try and soften these thighs. It may be a tendency to clam up and tense up. See if you can be relaxed in the lower body, because you know that lower body work will come after this. One more breath, finding that stretch from the left sit bone into the left middle finger. And then release. Coming forward, maybe your hand comes to the floor, bow your head, try to press into the heel of that right hand so your sit bones are close to the floor, and then the left side of the body, reaching forwards. Come back to the ideal, the visualization of the shoulder blade gliding on the back ribs so they rise forwards, so to give you more of a stretch. Feeling it maybe a little bit more down the back of the body, below the shoulder blades. Keep reaching. And then release. Nice bit of work for the fascia. Now that half cactus. You can hold on to the knee, shoulders down. Remember to lead with the thumb to the back wall. So we're externally rotating this left arm. I'm very guilty. Now, if we can take our eyeballs right into the corner, we'll end up moving a little bit more. Again, leading with the thumb, the elbow can, if anything, be slightly forwards. Feel the shoulder blade, that left shoulder blade, gliding to the center body to help you get that spinal twist. Shoulders are down away from the ears, jaw relaxed. And then gently release onto the legs. So lean as much to the right as you need to in order to lift this leg. We're going for 10. Now, we can make it more difficult by holding the hips. We're going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, one more. And then that swiveling action. So leading from the hip. The angle behind the knee doesn't change. It's kicking back. 9, 8, 7. If you're feeling the wrong kind of discomfort, here. Lower down to your forearm, tuck your bottom under. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hip reward, seated twist. Place the foot on the outside of your knee and have a hug and rock. Lovely. So the knees towards the opposite shoulder, hugging tightly in, trying to keep that sit bone on the floor. One little exercise on our belly, and then one on our backs, and then it's time for the day. All right, we set up on your belly. We're going to take floating Cobra. So hands are under the shoulders. Just as before we were taking that open cactus, think about the elbows down, shoulders back as we lift up. So bottom tucked, protect your lower back. Chin tucked into the chest, so you'll be looking down at the floor. Elbows close into the body. So as you float the shoulders up, the backs of the hands pressing into the tops of the shoulders, feel the shoulder blades gliding down towards your waist, but keep long from your toes to the crown of the head. Gentle movement up and down, no jerking. We don't need to go very far to feel the strength in the rhomboids between your shoulder blades, helping to work against gravity and give you that lift. We keep the movement very small because if we come up very far, you're going to start to strain your lower back. And because I'm not in the room with you, I'd really rather you to do that. Tuck your bottom under to further protect the lower spine, and let's concentrate these last few repetitions on strengthening the upper back. So as we lift, peel the shoulders away from the floor, elbows into the waist and to the floor. So it's the upper body, the backs of the hands and the shoulders lifting. We'll often cheat and lift the elbows high. So let's avoid that. Lifting, peeling the shoulders back, lowering down. One more. Really feel length from the toes through to the crown of the head. And then hands down to take a child pose. Take a moment just to allow the chest to rest on the thighs. Maybe a little rock side to side. Last little blast on your back. You start hugging your knees into the chest. A little rock on the spine. We're coming to an oblique twist. Hold your head in the hands. Elbows quite close together. So you're creating a real habit for the head and minimum strain for the neck. Take a breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, extend one leg and reach for the outer hip of that bent leg. Pause until there's no air left in your lungs and you can feel your oblique muscles firing up. We'll breathe in to switch, breathe out other side. So try to avoid any yanking on the neck. Feel like your chest is lifting to meet the outer thigh. Squeeze, empty the lungs, obliques turned on, and breathe into switch. So slow the movement right down. With even a micro pause, will get you a little bit stronger around the core. You don't need to fully straighten the legs. One leg, you can take the knees quite close in towards the chest for less intensity. For the last few reps, if you feel you've got a little bit more fuel left in the tank, we come into the oblique twist, the leg that's straight. You can lift it up to the ceiling and then lower it down. And then we switch to the other side. Oblique twist. Rise up with this straight leg to the ceiling, back down and switch. Last set each side. And then hug the knees into the chest. Let's take a little twist, arms out in a wide T. Drop the knees to one side. For a deeper twist, hold the top knee and draw it down towards the floor. Breathe and relax, knowing your hard work's done. Let's take that twist to the other side, knees up and over the body. Either just resting here with the shoulder blades, trying to reach the floor. Otherwise, a little more intense. Use the opposite hand to draw the knee to the floor and stretch. You can stay on your back, hugging the knees into the chest for a little bit longer. Otherwise, I know some of you got to dart off, so 30 minutes done. Tick.